comfortable sharing a bit about the crime, I think that would be great for...
Yeah, so no problem. So it was a gang war. That was, in a nutshell, that's basically what it was. The Raymond Crips and the Legend Crips that got into like a real heated turf war, you know. And so the night that this, you know, unfortunately and very unnecessary crime occurred, I had run away from home. I was on house arrest.
Okay.
I got caught with a gun, and so in front of Dexter's house.
Oh, okay.
And so I had just got off house arrest. So my mom was like, you know what, that'd probably be another good thing. And he was kind of straightening it out, whatever. And so they put me back on house arrest, and I was like, house arrest was kicking my ass.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, nah, I ain't doing this house arrest stuff again. You know, and like prior to that, like my homies used to always be like, man, run away from home, run away from home. And the only reason why I didn't run away from home at the time is because it was holiday time. It was right around this time. It was Thanksgiving, and you had Christmas coming up, and New Year. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna ruin nobody else's holidays because of me. So even though I was like off kilter, I still had remnants of the proper person that my mother was raising, to, you know, still have empathy for others and understanding that like my actions do affect others. But once they put me back on house arrest the second time, me and my mom got into a little stupid argument. And I remember telling my friend on the phone, like, cuz, if she say some bullshit to me, I'm running away. And so I was like, just listen and tell me what you think. And I put the phone in my pocket. And so she was like, what you downstairs doing? And I had a smart ass mouth. And so I said, oh, I'm downstairs washing the dishes that you and Mike left, which was her boyfriend at the time. And she was like, well, you ain't got to wash my dishes and all this stuff. And you don't, you know. And I was like, okay. She's like, you can get your ass off my phone too. I'm like, all right, no problem. So I went downstairs. I'm like, cuz, you heard that? I'm like, as soon as she leave, I'm in the hood. So as soon as she left, you would have never thought I was running away from home. Like, I had just cleaned the dishes, mopped the kitchen floor, was doing my laundry. And as soon as they left, I gave them like maybe 5-10 minutes, boom, I was out. Came straight to this park right here, as a matter of fact. It was a car show going on at the time. And it was like, I was just, boom. And so I got into some, you know, I was getting my money off the streets, you know what I mean? Selling drugs and stuff like that. And I had just got this girl's number, where I'll take you guys a little later to my side of the neighborhood, the clique that I'm actually from, in Inglewood. And so I went to her house. Her name was Tasha. So we're sitting outside waiting. It's me, two of my co-defendants, and then two other members of my old neighborhood. And we seen, you know, our enemies roll by. And so we like chase them down a little bit, and then we like start calling, hey man, we need some guns and stuff like that. You know, we got guns, and we went back over there, and it was just like, man, it was just like doomsday. You know, and I want people to know, like, one of the most sickening parts about my case is the fact that, like, I went in and participated in hunting humans. You know, when you drive around somebody's neighborhood looking for somebody to kill, that's a hunt.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different from somebody going in the woods and waiting quietly and patiently for a deer to walk by, or, you know, putting fake scents out for the deer to come out and then kill them.
Yeah.
You know, so as long as I live, I'm going to forever be ashamed. I'll forever be regretful and remorseful. You know, but that's what propels me to create the content that I create, the motivational, inspirational. That's what motivates me every day to be the best person that I can be daily. That's what motivates me to constantly do a moral inventory of myself, to say, did I offend anybody today? How did I do that? How can I be better tomorrow? You know, what can I do today that'll make what I did yesterday better? You know what I mean? So that's the reason. It's all out of honor for the memory of the victim and their family. That way, that person's death is not in vain. You know, the other person who was shot and lived, the pain is not it. But unfortunately, it happened.
And this was a gang fight.
This was a gang war, So that's what happened. And as we drove down the street, you know what I'm saying, as fate would have it, we were apprehended. And I'm glad, you know, because had I got away, you know, with that murder that night, it wasn't gonna stop.
Yeah.
You know, somebody else was gonna, so I thank God every day for stopping me right then and there, from saving me from myself,
Yeah.
for knowing that I needed that time out. I needed that chastising, that refining. You know what I mean? Like, you look at gold. When gold comes out the ground, it's not as sexy as the watch that they turn it into, or the earrings, or the necklace. It has to be burned. You got to get the impurities out. And I feel like that's what incarceration was for me, to get the impurities off of me and allow me to be a beautiful piece of work.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose I'm just wary of time, but yeah, I'll touch on so you went to prison, and you say that probably the hardest moment was when your mum passed.
Yeah, and then my brother passed the year after her.
Oh wow. And that kind of, I suppose you've been a kid, you've run away from home, you've made some mistakes, then you're in prison serving time for those mistakes, and you lose your loved ones. You said earlier that really put things in perspective for you.
Yeah, because I looked at myself and I looked at the loss, and I'm like, damn, my mom's last years on earth I spent in jail for some shit that didn't matter, some shit that didn't count. My brother's last years on earth, rather than being there to set a better and a greater example for him, I made the example worse. I made the path for him shallow, and that he's dead. And those last years I spent incarcerated behind something that does not matter, something that just will never count. I could have never walked in a bank and say, hey, I'm an active member of the Raymond Crips. I want a loan for $40,000 so I can go buy drug houses. You can't do that. But since I've been home and I've been doing things the right way, I can go in the bank now and, hey, let me get a $6,000 loan, let me get a $10,000 loan. Yeah. To do this, to do that, and it's like, okay, like the work that I put in now for myself benefits me. The work that I was putting in for the hood, it ruined me, and it ruined these neighborhoods. Like gangs always say, like, this is my hood. I love this hood, but in reality, you don't. You bring down the property values. You harass the people that actually do love this neighborhood, that invest in the neighborhood by buying homes, by paying the rent, by opening businesses, by going into the stores and making purchases and gas stations. Those are the people that love this neighborhood because they put things in here that are of value. As gang members, all we do is take. We're a cancer to society, and I just thank God for putting me through a set of chemo and removing that cancer.
And at which point, so fast forward a little, you make it out of prison, you find out that you're being released, which was a shock, right? Because you thought it was life.
So, all right, honestly, I never gave in to the fact that I would do life in prison.
Yeah, you always had the
I was always like, I'm getting out of here. And I used to tell people all the time, like, in the Bible, there's a part where Saul and I think Stephen, they were in chains. Mm-hmm. And it's in the book of Acts. Mm-hmm. And they're just worshiping God. And then the angel comes and tears the wall down, and he's like, come. Yeah. So I used to tell people all the time, like, I don't know if one night I'm gonna be in the cell praying and the wall gonna fall out and they're gonna be like, come on. Or if I was gonna go back to court and get my case overturned, or if I was gonna go to parole. I didn't know what the hell or how I was gonna do it. I just knew that was gonna be my destiny. Like, I used to visualize and manifest that so much. It's funny, I was telling a friend of mine one day, we were driving, and I told him, I said, bro, I manifested this. And he's like, what you mean? I said, man, when I was in prison, I used to put my fan on the table, and I would close my eyes and listen to my CD player, and I would kick my leg up, and I would visualize me driving through the streets, and the fan is the wind. Mm-hmm. And I would see myself driving down familiar streets and just pulling up, going to a gas station, going to a restaurant, and I would just visualize this over and over and over. There were days where I'm like, yo, I might really die in prison. Yeah. But so when I was found suitable for parole, because that's how it goes in California, like, you're not just granted parole. So you go through the process of going to a board hearing, and they deem that you're suitable to re-enter society. And then you have in my case, 150-day wait period because it has to be reviewed by the board panel. They have 120 days they can reverse the decision or can say, okay, yeah, we agree. And then another 30 days for the governor to review. He can say, I don't oppose and let you out early, or he can just take no action, which means you let the 30 days run out and then bam. So I'll never forget, I was on the yard. I was yard crew. I was on the yard talking to a partner of mine. We was, just shooting the breeze about sports. Sports and probably music and clothes or whatever. And they was like, Spivey, report to the program office. I was like, damn, what the hell they want me for? So I walk away. I'm walking. They're like, they said again, like, Spivey, report to them. I'm like, what the hell? So I like run. And so I see this lady. So I was walking up and she was like, Spivey? I was like, yeah. She's like, hi, I'm such and such from the probation department. And I just told her, I said, hold on 1 second. And I just was like, and I was like, all right, go ahead. And she was like, you go home next week. And I was just like, yes! Like, I probably gave the guy that said, this is Sparta, like a run for his money. Yeah. And I remember the captain came out and he was like, hey man, was that you out here screaming? I was like, yeah. And he was like, you going home, huh? I was like, yeah. He said, man, that scream was so loud. He said, I was about to lay the yard down. I was about to hit the buzzer. He's like, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And, and I remember when I got found suitable at parole board, and my parole board that I had, that was the first time I went to parole board, I felt was way easier than the second time I went to parole board, and the first time I got denied, but I felt like the process was a lot smoother. But the second time, the chairman of the board was like, her name was Michelle Minor, and shout out Michelle Minor. Thank you for grant me leniency, because this lady was like a tough cookie. And we did everything on screen and she intimidated me.
Yeah.
Like, she's sitting there, I was doing a closing statement and she's like, and in my head I'm like, and this is like December 23rd.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what better gift to give to the victim's family than deny me parole for Christmas? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I'm sitting there in my head, I'm like, the first time I was like, I'm going home. But this time I was like, they about to deny me parole. And like, all I kept asking myself, like, what do I do now?
Yeah. What
do I do now if they deny me parole this time? And she was reading off of, your crime is malicious, it's a vicious crime. You had a lack of empathy. And when she said, however, I just was like, because I knew it was coming. We don't find you to be an unreasonable risk to society.
Oh, okay.
And now they find me suitable for parole.
Yeah.
And that just was like, I remember going back to my dorm and I was just like, I was just underneath the covers and I just was like, just smiling.
Yeah.
But that 150-day wait, I only waited 120 days though, but that wait period was probably the longest and most stressful time that I did in prison.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you can't have any slip-ups. You can't get in like an inch of trouble.
Yeah.
If they say don't take fruit out the chow hall, you better not take no fruit out the chow hall and mess around and get a warning. A warning will get my parole date pulled from me.
Yeah.
So it was like I was walking on like the most extreme case of eggshells ever.